Hey out there, YouTube family, and welcome to another edition of the Kevin Strong Show. And in this video, we're going to talk about layoffs in the housing market. So it's not a surprise. This was coming. A lot of us seen this. People are getting laid off when it comes to real estate agents and loan officers. Just for a full disclosure, I am a licensed broker in the state of Washington. I previously held a license in the state of Ohio way back when I was a shorty for about 10 years. So I still maintain a broker's license currently in the state of Washington. And I'm proud to announce I just recently passed the test to become a mortgage loan officer, first time attempt, and passed it the first time. So I'm very happy about that. Why am I getting involved in loan origination right when the industry is getting ready to contract and get smaller? I'm just keeping my powder dry. There's some things that I want to put in place now so I can take advantage of what I perceive as some fabulous opportunities in 2023 and beyond. But without further ado, let's get into the news. Once again, this video, we're going to talk about people getting laid off in the housing industry. If you are enjoying this kind of content, could you please do me the honor of smashing that like button, commenting, and share, because I care. So let's get into it. Recently, a real estate brokerage company, the name of this company is called Compass, announced a second round of layoffs just the other day. There's another company called Open Door that in August, they lost money on 42% of their transactions. Now, Open Door is probably one of the largest online buyers and sellers of real estate, basically flipping properties online, overpaying for properties, and then turning around and putting those properties right back on the market to try to get an exorbitant amount of money in a quick period of time. They got caught with their pants down, so to speak. They are losing a lot of money. So who knows what's going to happen with Open Door? I know that stock has gotten absolutely devastated within the last year. So just kind of need to stay away from that. There's another company called Better.com, has done 4 rounds of head cuts, including the famous botched mass layoff that was done by way of Zoom. Some of you may have heard about that online or on TV. The CEO of Better.com got on a Zoom call with his staff personnel and then just abruptly told him, hey, just want to let you know the company's going out of business, or we're laying a bunch of people off. Just a trashy way to trash someone's lifestyle. Real estate company Redfin just recently laid off 8% of its staff. They did that in June a couple months ago. Rocket, I'm sure you've seen all of their commercials. Rocket Mortgage, one of the largest non-bank mortgage lenders, has done 2 rounds of cuts. Briefly a mimic stock in 2021 when it traded over $25. Okay, so in 2021, Rocket was at about $25. Now the stock is less than $8 a share. So a lot of these mortgage home builders, real estate companies, Zillow, their prices have been precipitously going down since the beginning of 2022, and that is not by coincidence. So in concert, that also was the beginning of when the housing market clearly started to trend downward. There's a company called Sprout, a mortgage company. They went out of business. First Guarantee Mortgage, that's a big company that originates a lot of loans. They're probably one of the top 3 companies in terms of loan origination in the United States. They filed for a Chapter 13. They did, as well as Sprout Mortgage. So these are just some nasty things. Let's talk about some of the things by the numbers. Mortgage banking and brokerage shops trimmed 3,600 full-timers from their payrolls just in July. And that's according to the BLS data, Bureau Labor of Statistics. So that's just a terrible situation. I talked about loan origination. Check this out. The number of people employed as loan originators or processors, those folks that market grew by 31% when the health crisis first started. That is not the case now. They are actually giving these people bonuses, all these kind of very attractive monetary incentives to come over and get into this line of work. Just a hot mess. Some of the biggest players in the real estate industry, Remax, Redfin, and Wells Fargo, have announced layoffs in recent months, totaling thousands of jobs. Industry analysts are projecting the cuts could eventually be on par with what we seen during the housing crash of 2008. I've talked about this ad nauseum, so I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to briefly say those of you who like to go back in time and talk about what the interest rates were in 1994, I think we're in uncharted territory. I think we're more globally and financially connected now than we've ever been in the history of this country. There's civil unrest. There's so many other ancillary but important factors that can affect housing that wasn't into play in 2008. And as those things continue to unravel, I think it's going to create a very ominous and nefarious outlook for the housing market and the mortgage market in 2023 and beyond. Here's one lady says, it's going to be tough. Layoffs are coming. They're coming, and they're coming rapidly. This lady called Linda McCoy, head of the National Association of Mortgage Brokers. This lady has been in the industry for 30 years. Workers in the mortgage industry have been among the hardest hit as demand for refinancing and home sales tumble, right? People locked in 2021 at 3% or sometimes below 3%, 30-year fixed rate. So unless you have a crap load of debt that you need to consolidate, you're not going to capitulate and give up that 30-year fixed rate at such a low rate. The better thing, or the better option for those people who are probably needing to tap into their equity to pay off some of their debt, is probably to look at a home equity line of credit so you can preserve that low rate, because once you give it up, who knows how long it's going to take before you get that back. Before I make my last point, there was a guy on YouTube, his name is Scott Walters, made a very, very salient and prudent point about how to determine affordability when you purchase a home. And I'd like to share that with you guys today. Think about this, guys. Again, I've never thought about this. Like I said, I've had a license in Ohio for over 10 years. Those of you guys who follow me on Facebook, I spend a ton of time on research and trends and things like that. No, I'm not a guru. No, I don't always get it right, but I spend a lot of time analyzing stuff. So when I get into debates and things like that, I don't base this on my feelings. It's based on a lot of research. But Scott Walters said this: when you purchase something, especially as your primary residence, you should make sure whatever that payment is matches up with at or below what the rent market is for that particular area. So God forbid if you and your significant other have to pull back because you can no longer afford that house and you want to maintain that house in the long run, maybe you and your family have to take a step back and rent for a couple of years. And hopefully you got a mortgage that's equal to or below the rent market for that area, so you can rent your property out while you and your significant other retool and get your financial house in order. And then eventually you can come back into the house and then hopefully regain some equity. So that's a good rule of thumb, to never really have a mortgage payment too much higher to what the rent market should be for that area. But you know how people are. They want what they want when they want it. You can't talk to them about it because they want to impress their friends. I read some article last year that basically said, and this is off the top of my head, so don't quote me exactly, that people only probably use about 42% of the house that they're in. So people have 3,000. I got 3,500 square feet. I can do this and I can do that, and the kitchen does this and it does that, and it's like, homie, slow your roll, bro. The other 2 rooms are full of Amazon boxes. The other ones, the kids don't even know. And the third room is just collecting dust. Like, people become creatures of habits within their dwelling, right? You have like a pattern. You might go to the living room, to the kitchen, to the bathroom, to your bedroom, and all that other space, that other stuff that compelled you to buy this home and to take on this massive amount of debt that kind of shackles you down and makes you immobile in terms of being portable. It's not always a prudent thing to do. So keep that in mind. What's the functionality of this house from a living space standpoint? And more importantly, can I rent this out in the event that me and my significant others have to, in order to basically retool ourselves? Last but not least, I was on a sales call with a brokerage company that I'm licensed with in the state of Washington. And they told me Washington has over 34,000 real estate agents. Imagine that, 34,000. Listen to me, folks. Within the next 18 months, you're going to see a ton of real estate agents get out of the market. in the next 18 months. You're going to see a ton, and I do mean a ton, of loan officers that are going to get out of the business. Both of the aforementioned are typically 100% commission-based type jobs. People live pretentious and false lives in this industry. Not all, but some. And what I mean by that is that they have a high income and they have a high consumption lifestyle. You don't make $300,000 or $400,000 a year and live at 80,000. Maybe 5% of the people live that way. So what happens is that there's a lot of people recently within the last 2 or 3 years that got into mortgages, loan origination, got into the real estate market and did quite well for themselves. And they started buying things and securing debt based on a lifestyle that may not continue or may not be able to allow you to support that lifestyle because market conditions have drastically changed just within this year. You're going to see a lot of those people not only have to get out of that industry, but unfortunately, their lives are going to be destroyed. And hopefully, they will learn from that lesson. It's always better to live below your means and keep your powder dry. So I hope you're enjoying this type of content. You know my motto, please keep your credit score up and your debt down. Otherwise, you'll look like a clown. This was the Kevin Strong Show. Hit that like button, comment, and share because I care. And I'll see you guys in the next video.